Imagine you're tasked with building a massive, multi-story hospital. To do it right, you follow a strict sequence, laying the foundation, framing the walls, and then adding the roof. If you perform those construction steps out of order, like if you try to paint the walls before pouring the concrete, the entire project crumbles into dust. Everything has to happen in a specific sequence. Now, let's bring that idea into the digital world. Picture a client walking into an agency and asking the team to build a complex online shopping website. The most common instinct for a beginner is to sit right down at a keyboard and start typing out code to build the site. But jumping straight into code without a roadmap is exactly like building that hospital without a blueprint. To keep the project from collapsing under its own weight, developers rely on a mandatory step-by-step framework, the software process. This diagram maps out how the process works, starting here with step 1, requirement gathering. Before writing code, developers ask exactly what the app needs to do. Do users need to log in? Is there a cart? Delivery tracking? If you guess on these details and guess wrong, you'll waste months of labor and money building a system the customer never actually asked for. Once requirements are clear, the flowchart moves to the next node, software design. Here, developers plan the app's structure. They map out how the database stores user info, what the interface looks like, and how payments connect to the site. Notice where we are in the timeline. We have completely mapped out what the software does and how it will work, but nobody has typed any code yet. Securing the requirements and finalizing the design is the only reliable way to ensure you don't spend a fortune building a perfectly functioning website that does entirely the wrong things. With the plan finished, we reach the third node, implementation. This is the coding phase. It translates the design blueprint into logic the computer can follow. For example, writing the rule that if a password matches, log the user in. But humans make mistakes, which means there will always be flaws hidden in the code during implementation. So the process moves to node 4, testing. Testing is a deliberate hunt for fatal crashes, slow performance, or critical security gaps. Systematically finding and fixing these issues ensures the final app runs quickly and reliably for the people using it. Simply writing the code doesn't give you a finished product. Testing is the mandatory verification step that proves your work is actually safe for the public to touch. Once verified, the code is finally released to the internet or an app store so real people can use it. This step is called deployment. It is very common to assume that hitting the launch button means the project is permanently finished, but the flowchart actually extends into a final, infinitely looping node, maintenance. In the real world, users request new features, find unexpected bugs, and need security updates. When your phone downloads a routine update for a messaging app, you are watching the maintenance phase in action. Software is a living system that requires lifelong care. Because of that, maintenance is the longest and most demanding phase of the entire development journey. Now, following these 6 steps is the foundation, but the way a company follows them determines if the project is a success or a chaotic mess. For example, the process needs to be predictable, so you can tell a client when the hospital will be finished, and it must be efficient, so you aren't wasting money by breaking and rebuilding walls. It also needs to be flexible enough to handle new requests while producing a high-quality, reliable product. When you combine these with qualities like being easy to understand, easy to maintain, and easy to measure, you transform that simple flowchart into a professional operation. This complete flowchart, from gathering requirements to lifelong maintenance, is the shield that protects developers from the chaos of building without a plan. But that leaves us with an interesting question. Does every tech project have to strictly follow these steps in this exact linear order without exception? The answer is no. The order of these steps can dynamically change based on what you are building. To understand how developers decide which path to take, we have to look at a broader framework known as the software development lifecycle.